So my thing with Jonathan Drouin is obviously third overall pick, right? Like just really, really good player. And I know someone I work with who lives out in Halifax was able to watch him as he was developing and before the draft. And he's on the same team as Nathan McKinnon. We all know that. But he's saying at one point, like, Jonathan Drouin was the better player for Halifax between him and Nathan McKinnon. There's a hell of a player there in Jonathan Drouin. And we've seen it kind of materialize, at least to some regards. He had 37 points in 43 games last year for Colorado. That's a hell of a pull. Of course, only 11 goals, but like you're getting pretty close to point per game. My hot take here is that Jonathan Drouin, and this is very spicy. So like I'm gonna get backlash on this, and I'm totally gonna own it. He's gonna be near a point per game player for the Islanders. He's gonna play, again, a hot take, like 82 games, let's say, because he hasn't really done that, and score somewhere over 70 points, 21 goals, and what is that? 50 to 60 some odd assists is what I picture for Jonathan Drouin this year playing with Bo Horvat. He will unlock Bo Horvat, guaranteed.
Okay.
Is my hot take.
I want that to be correct because that is awesome. I am in on going back to 30 goal Bo Horvat. That's something that I think happens even if, Jonathan Drouin doesn't give you 70 plus points this year. 21 would be tied for a career high in goals. His career high in points is 56, which came 2 years ago. He's put up over 53 times in his career. It would be he would definitely need an improvement, but it's not like, hey, you're a 30-point player who's going to put up 70 points. This is a guy who has put up offense. My fear is twofold here.
Yes.
One, not someone who usually plays a full season.
Correct.
And two, he put up good numbers in Colorado, like points-wise, over the last 2 years. But that roster looks very different from the Islanders roster.
You're absolutely right. And look, I get it. And this is why I'm coming out with a hot take. Like, this isn't me saying, well, I guess I did say he's going to guarantee unlock Bo Horvat. But that doesn't mean he necessarily puts up points, I suppose. But playing 18 minutes a night in Colorado, which was a career high for him. He had never played that much on average. Of course, you're absolutely right. Playing with different caliber players than what we've got. I just think he could average 19, maybe 20 minutes a night, sitting up on that power play probably. Because he's got quite a few power play. He had 14 power play assists 2 years ago, but had 18 in 17-8. Of course, that was a long time ago. There's a really, really, really good player there, and I think the combination of deployment and situation, right? Being on the island, he likes to be anonymous. He doesn't like to be in the spotlight as much as it is New York and there's like 8 million people living on the island. The second you take off the skates, no one knows who the hell you are outside of all of us. You can go to Hauppauge and just kind of disappear type of thing. Whereas that's not a thing if you're in Montreal, or even Colorado, maybe he probably could. But he's going to enjoy it, I think, here in more ways than one. And Mathieu Darche saw something enough to bring him in, and I'm fully on board with Jonathan Drouin. I think he's going to go lights out here.
I think he's going to work well with Bo Horvat because we've seen Barzal, who is a similar player, a better player, but similar in the sense that a facilitator and not a goal scorer. So I think Bo being the finisher on a line with Drouin does make sense. I think will work. I'm just not as bullish on the points. I think he'll give you over 50. I think 50 to 55 is going to be my guess, which for a $4 million contract, that's a good bang for your buck. Yeah. I would absolutely take that.
So my thing here you're absolutely right in bringing in Barzal to the discussion. But my thing is that Jonathan Drouin is a more direct player than Mathieu Barzal is. More in line of Jonathan Huberdeau, right? Like when he's setting up a play, he can make a pass, but he's not going to dawdle around with the puck as much as Mathieu Barzal, which I love. I love Barzy's style, but these two guys effectively do the same thing in terms of playmaking, but do it in a different way. And I think Jonathan Drouin is a little bit more direct in doing so, whereas Mathieu Barzal might not necessarily be. And I think that speaks more to Bo Horvat's strengths. I think they can play better in straight lines, the two of them, and get that kind of synergy going, whereas sure, Bo and Barzy played well together, but I think his dawdling water bugging type of thing may not have played that well for Bo Horvat. I think there's going to be a better fit there with Jonathan Drouin.
I'm going to put you on the spot, but who's the third winger or third player that's on that line on the right side?
Oh, I'm going to say Kyle Palmieri.
I agree with you. I think it's going to be Palmieri, but I'll make the case for you. Again, I'm not going to go as ambitious as you are, which is fine. I love having hot takes and opinions that we could stand on here, and I hope you're right. 75 points for our guy Jonathan Drouin this year would be sick. But if Palmieri is converting at 30 goals and Bo Horvat's giving you 35, and those three are playing together a lot, then we might be able to get in the conversation of Drouin pushing 70 plus points.
Yeah, you're right. His line mates are gonna matter because he's not gonna be able to drive a line on his own.
No.
It's how does his skill set improve the others around him, or how do they work together is the better way of saying that. And so that's why I think it's a good fit putting him on Bo Horvat's line. Of course, we're all imagining here, like watch he starts of the year and he plays with Barzal. You're like, well, shit, forget that. That's not gonna work. But that's the assumption here, and that's what I'm going on. I'm sticking my neck out for this, and it's gonna happen.